Hello, welcome to the Ingleside Public Library's virtual Sleep Tight story time. Tonight's book will be The Sandman by Ralph Fletcher, illustrated by Richard Cowdrey. Once upon a time, there was a man named Tor. Tor was a tiny man, no more than a few inches high, but he had a big problem. He couldn't sleep. His head was jam-packed with thoughts, ideas, and worries. All night, Tor laid in bed, longing for sleep, desperate for dreams. He tried counting stars, drinking warm milk, taking hot baths, but nothing worked. One day, while walking in the woods, Tor came upon a place that smelled like smoke. With a start, he realized he had wandered near a dragon's nest. Looking down, he saw a gleam of light at his feet, a dragon scale. He picked it up and hurried away. Back home, Tor examined the dragon scale. It was rounded on one side and jagged on the other. Tor took out a special tool and began to file down the sharp part. As he worked, a fine sand began to gather on his workbench. Suddenly, the door sprang open and the wind blew sand in Tor's eyes. A great wave of sleepiness came over him. He couldn't keep his eyes open. Hours later, Tor woke with a smile. He just had the most wonderful dream, and he never felt so rested. He blinked his eyes and tried to figure out what had happened. "The sand from the dragon scale," he exclaimed. "It must have had magical powers to put people to sleep." Tor wanted to help others who couldn't sleep, especially children. In his workshop, he filed down the dragon scale to make more magical sand. He gathered it in a large leather bag. The next night, Tor rode on a cart pulled by a mouse into a nearby home. Upstairs, he found a boy laying in bed, and his eyes wide open. "Who are you?" the boy asked. "I am Sandman," Tor explained, sprinkling a little bit of powdery sand over the boy's eyes. "What do you—" the boy began, but his eyes closed before he could finish his sentence. He yawned, let out a sigh, and instantly fell into a deep sleep full of magnificent dreams. And that's how the Sandman got started. Night after night, he went from house to house, street to street, riding in his mouse-drawn cart, helping children fall asleep. But there were so many children, in a few weeks, the sand and the dragon scale were all gone. The Sandman knew what he had to do. He returned to the dragon's nest. He found a good place to hide and waited. At first, all was quiet, but then he felt a change in the air. A sudden gust of hot wind made his throat dry. He heard the terrible flapping of wings, roaring, spewing great plumes of fire. The dragon had returned. The Sandman trembled, huddled in his hiding space. He kept still, barely breathing, while the dragon settled down for the night. After a while, the dragon opened his mouth, yawned, and stretched. A small scale popped off the dragon's belly and rolled into the dust. The Sandman wanted to grab the scale right away, but he didn't dare. He waited until the dragon's red eyes closed. He waited until only smoke drifted from the dragon's great nostrils. And he waited until his breaths came slowly and easy. He waited half an hour more until he was absolutely certain that the dragon was fast asleep. Then, tiptoeing from the hiding space, he snatched the scale and raced back home. Now you know how the Sandman lives. During the day, he's in the workshop grinding a dragon scale with a special metal tool, making a pile of magic sand. Since dragons live forever, there will never be a shortage of scales. At bedtime, he goes to work. The Sandman silently rides into your home, following secret pathways only a mouse would know. He tiptoes to your bed and reaches into a leather bag. With a quick flick of his wrist, he sprinkles magic sand over your eyes. Suddenly, your eyes feel so heavy there is no possible way to keep them open. All those busy thoughts and worries disappear. Your breaths come nice and slow and easy. You give one huge stretch of your body, like a dragon, and fall into a sound sleep. A few hours later, the Sandman rides home. He says good night to the mouse and climbs into his own bed. It makes him feel happy, giving others a gift of sleep. But some nights, even though he's tired, the Sandman has trouble falling asleep. So he takes a little pinch of his special sand and sprinkles it all over his eyes, which always does the trick. The end. Good night and sleep tight.